Where's your phone?
It's not under here.
We gotta call Jim Whitewood.
We were walking out. We were
The
walking
one in the
out.
conference room, maybe, Jimmy?
We were walking out, and he said, "Marge, are you gonna call me again?"
I thought she always had a phone with her.
She did, probably.
Are we? I guess we are. We are on. Okay.
We're just waiting to get Dahl and Whitewood on the phone. Here, Marge.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
is,
being televised.
Yeah.
Yes, it's gonna be on our YouTube.
No.
That's all, thank you.
Huh? That's okay. I should.
It's my fault. He let me know earlier today and I forgot to tell you, Jim. I apologize.
I could get my cell phone if we wanted to.
Well, then I guess we could put your cell phone in and out.
Well, I'll put it by you.
We can try it. He's gonna have to be mic'd, because people are gonna have to be able to hear him. He's gonna have to be able to hear us. That's the requirement. Yeah.
Is it working, Jimmy? Thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello, Jim. Alderman Weber, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Can you hear him?
You good?
Yeah, that one's loud. Okay, so for the open presentation, we have our senior engineer, Nicole Campbell, who's going to talk to us about the RTA project recommendations. Nicole?
Good evening, everyone, hope all is well. We have Michelle.
Is your microphone on? It doesn't sound like it.
Is it green?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Hope everything is well. We have Ruben Shell here with House Seal and Levine. He's been working on our RTA Harlem Avenue Corridor project. He is going to present a memo of recommendations based on elected official input, resident input over various meetings and e-blasts and things of that sort that we've had. So I will let him do his presentation, and if we have enough time for any comments or questions, you can submit those today. I'll write them out, all out, or via email, and you'll give the details. Okay?
Okay. Go
Oh,
ahead,
and
sir.
everyone should have a copy, and any extra copies are up by the city administrator's table unless you want them down here. Okay.
Could you pull the mic by you, sir, so we can make sure we hear you?
Is this working? Everyone can
Yeah,
hear?
because it's televised on camera, and they can't pick it up unless you have that mic, so.
Okay, great. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, City Council members, for having us back here this evening. Yeah, and thank you, Nicole. My name's Ruben Shell, planner with House Seal Levine. Glad to be back with you all for the next portion of the work for the TOD zoning code updates project. So just a word on tonight's agenda and kind of the meeting purpose. We'll go over the scope of work for the project, take a look at where we're at in the overall flow of work for it. Then really tonight is all about reviewing the recommendations in the report that you all have. This is recommendations for updates the city should think about to the zoning ordinance based on the feedback that we heard up front in the process and some of the feedback that we heard from residents, business owners, and back when we had our first meeting about a year ago, as well as through an online survey that's been open in the early part of this year. So really to go over the highlights from that report, and then we'll make time for questions and input that you all have towards the end of this. So really to get your input is on the recommendations. It's quite the purpose of that. And like Nicole was saying, we know that you haven't had a lot of time with the reports previously, so if there's additional thoughts and comments you have over the coming weeks as you look at it more, certainly feel free to pass those along and we'll get those worked into the document.
Before you go, let's just check. Alderman Boywood, can you hear the presentation?
Not really, but I'm getting bits and pieces of it.
Could you just keep your voice up a little louder, please?
Yeah, certainly. I think I'll try and move closer to the microphone.
No, the microphone is not connected to this. The mi-
Okay. So this sounds a little different. So the project is really a cooperation between the city of Berwyn. They applied through for funding through the RTA's community planning program, and RTA then once the city's project was awarded the grant, cooperated with our firm to provide some additional technical expertise. So it's really our three organizations working on it together. We've been working with Nicole so far. So getting back to the project, where we're at overall, this really builds on a lot of the work that the city has done previously to encourage the transit-oriented development along Harlem Avenue. That's really built on some past studies in 2008 and the 2018 PACE Central Harlem Avenue corridor study that really worked to get a vision together on what the city wants to see in that corridor. And that's really led into, with all of that planning background and community engagement, that's really led into this project that's focused on zoning ordinance, potential zoning ordinance updates to bring the city's zoning into alignment with all of that policy. And again, this is funded through the RTA's community planning program at no cost to the city. So some goals that the city had for this project when it put out the RFP with RTA, revisiting recommendations from the 2008 TOD study, bringing the zoning code into alignment with the 2018 PACE Central Harlem Avenue corridor study, and to support TOD around the Harlem Avenue Metro Station, to review the zoning processes and procedures and make sure that they're consistent for developers and residents and easy to navigate, and requiring development to be pedestrian and transit friendly in the study area along Harlem Avenue. So those are some of the goals that we know about going into the project. Hopefully we'll see these kind of threaded throughout the recommendations in the report.
So is this working in conjunction with the Pulse Sarmac line that they're talking about running through? Or is this conflicting at all?
It's not conflicting. If anything, it would benefit the, I should say, the Harlem Pulse that's coming out.
No, that's coming out later, correct, that's, okay, so this is kind of a precursor to that, okay, okay.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, very much in support of the eventual bus rapid transit
Gotcha.
that's planned for along the corridor. So we really have 4 steps in the process. Up on the screen here, we started back about a year ago talking with you all. That's that step 1, project initiation. We spoke with you all and got some ideas on priorities for the project back, I think, in June of 2023. There was an open house back in September where we invited members of the public in and got some more input on priorities. We had a survey online that was open between December and about March of this year, December last year and March of this year, and that garnered some response, and we definitely got some input from members of the public on their thoughts for the Harlem Avenue corridor. So given all of that input, that's where we're at tonight, is tying all that together and presenting some recommendations on what it means for the city's zoning ordinance and what the city should think about doing to put all of that input into practice in the zoning. So that's where we're at in the process overall. From here, we'll just dive right in and look at the recommendations in the report itself. So just a note on the report's organization there. Really the substance of it is where we're presenting the feedback that we heard either last year, talking with you all, through the survey, through the open house, or through the 2018 PACE studies recommendations, and presenting all of that feedback in some of the tables there, presenting that feedback on sort of the left-hand column, and then showing what are some of the zoning ordinance updates the city could think about to do some of that feedback and recommendations that we heard from stakeholders or the 2018 study. So that's really the report's format there. So it's recognize it is detailed. Definitely want to encourage you all to continue looking at it after this evening here and provide any follow-up thoughts and input that you have. But we'll take a look at some of the bigger ideas in the report here. So this is just to recap the TOD study area. This is along Harlem Avenue for the entire extent in the city, from north to south there on the east side of Harlem Avenue. Really encompasses a very kind of historic commercial corridor area. There's plenty of, this area is really well served by transit, and both bus and the metro routes have really strong transit access in the corridor, and so that's really kind of what's fed into all the planning work that's been done so far, is to bring development into line with sort of a transit-friendly environment. So broken into two maps, as you can see up on the screen there, both on the north side and the south side of the city. So as far as existing zoning, there is a variety of zoning that exists in the study area here. Again, in the black outline, over on the left side of the both of the maps up on the screen there. There's some R1, R2 that exists in the established neighborhoods further east, but really in the report we're focusing on the C4 zoning that exists fronting along the corridor. Just based on the feedback that we heard, we really identified that C4 zoning as the city's sort of vehicle to get maybe some more redevelopment done in the study area over time. So most of the recommendations that are in the report pertain to the C4 district there. And really our finding overall is that the C4 district, as it is today, allows a really wide variety of commercial uses. It allows really it would allow pedestrian-oriented development in the corridor there. Buildings with between 4 and 6 stories in height would really be allowed very well and sort of expeditiously in that C4 district there. It's really designed to accommodate that type of development, which is very much in keeping with the plan's recommendations and what stakeholders reported that they wanted. So one major finding that we describe in the report is that that C4 district will continue to be a good vehicle to get the types of development done that the city wants. And so we have really kind of minor text updates to that C4 district is the nature of the updates that we're describing and recommending in the report. So here we'll just take a look at some of the outreach and recommend sort of preferences stakeholders said they wanted. And again, looking back at the outreach, this ties back to the Pace Central Harlem Avenue corridor study adopted in 2018 that the city cooperated with RTA and a number of other municipalities along Harlem Avenue to work on. We had the meeting with you all back in June of 2023. There's the open house in September of last year, and then the public survey that asked for similar types of input that was open through the beginning part of this year. So looking at some of the feedback that we heard earlier on in the process, the city wants to find more ways to repurpose some of the empty and underused sites that exist in the corridor today. The city wants to see some mixed-use development featuring commercial uses on the ground floor and residential uses above. So some recommendations to do that are to help encourage that are up on the screen here. Really the C4 zoning does and would allow a lot of that development today pretty well. It's a good vehicle to do some of that. Some ideas to potentially encourage that more. A lot of communities will move to reduce lot area and width standards in their commercial districts and rely just solely on setbacks to provide adequate spacing between buildings, eliminating lot area and width standards in the district there. They're slightly larger today in the C4 district than in some of the other commercial districts, so it could be a way to get a little denser development, some of the micro retail, small scale retail that some communities will want to see these days. Right now, off-street parking is an allowed principal use in the C4 district. A lot of communities will move to not allow that in the future as a principal use. And so the idea there is really to preserve sites for commercial tax revenue generating uses in the future. And that off-street parking can be provided accessory to those principal uses, but not as a standalone use in the corridor there. That's something a lot of communities are doing. Requiring businesses to occupy the ground floor parking garages. Parking garages are an allowed ground floor use in the district today. That's a fairly common thing to allow, say, a multi-floor garage. In other areas, the C2 and the C3, I think the city does require that the ground floor of a parking garage be occupied with sort of activity generating use. And so extending that to the C4 district as well could be another way to ensure that new development kind of activates the corridor over time. So moving down, we talked quite a bit about parking last time. We know there's some different thoughts on the adequate supply of parking in the corridor. So we heard that parking really needs to be considered. The city does need to ensure that there's a baseline supply of parking in the Harlem Avenue district, as it is a real busy corridor for motorists, and a lot of vehicular travelers do access sites by car there. So parking's important to retain, but we heard that there could be some interest in making the development, the parking regulations more flexible to encourage some redevelopment in the area. So some ideas here on parking. There are some certain uses we highlighted in the report there where the city does require a little more than is common today. Things like, say, a grocery store or retail, or I think dining establishment was one of the other types of commercial uses. The city does require a little more than is common today. So bringing those down into what's common in some other communities could help ensure that less of the lots are taken up by parking, and encourage some more redevelopment by bringing the regulations into what's common elsewhere today. Considering reducing the amount of off-street parking that that a developer is potentially exempt from within a distance of a commuter rail station or a bus stop could be another way. That's in the zoning ordinance today, that the city is allowed to, the city will consider granting up to 15% of off-street parking exemption within distance of a transit stop. So expanding that above 15% could be an idea to encourage some more redevelopment in those destinations near transit where off-street parking might not be as needed. Moving down more on parking here, we have the city's zoning does allow for shared parking and up to a reduction of 25% between potential adjoining uses in the corridor. We took a look and saw that really is a good practice, that shared parking to allow uses, different businesses and, say, residential uses in the corridor to share parking where they have potentially overlapping hours of operation. But one look at that shared parking provision we saw could potentially be improved is that better defining the types of uses that could qualify for shared parking could be a better way to signal to developers what could get approved. So spelling that out just a little bit more in the zoning, say retail, things like daytime uses like a retail, and evening or weekend uses, things like a restaurant or a dwelling unit, really spelling that out for developers that those are uses we could think about sharing parking because they have offset hours of operation, is a little more common way to define what's allowed in terms of shared parking, and can really help define what's allowed and encourage developers to apply for that by creating more certainty in that, how that provision works. Moving down there towards the bottom of the screen, the city does have a fee in lieu of parking allowance where it can allow a developer to apply for a fee in lieu of parking in other districts, extending that to the C4 district as well as the C2 and C3 could be another way to provide some flexibility from parking. So that really covers some of what we had on off-street parking based on some of that feedback. We heard that outdoor dining and seating for restaurants and sort of more street furniture and public gathering space would be good in the corridor in the future. So one idea we had on that is to make a couple of tweaks to how the planned development process is written. And so a lot of communities will have their planned development process rather than kind of dictate what's required there for approval, have it be a little bit more of an encouragement or incentive. So really encouraging things like public gathering space or green building practices be used, placemaking, things like that, to make sure the planned development, a lot of development, if it comes in the Harlem Avenue corridor, will likely apply through that planned development process. So making sure that it reads in a way that encourages some of those amenities to be provided when, say, a developer is asking for a little bit of deviation from the by right zoning there, would be a way to encourage some of those features a little bit more. We heard quite a bit about stormwater and potentially alleviating stormwater issues in the corridor as a priority, something the city would want to think about, ways to do that through its zoning. So encouraging the provision of green infrastructure, things like bioswales that you see over on the left there, encouraging that, but not necessarily requiring it through the zoning ordinance is a pretty common practice. So one idea we had going from that feedback is to spell that out as one of the criteria for approval under that planned unit development process, is to have provision of green infrastructure and other features that alleviate stormwater concerns as part of the approval for planned development when new development comes in. And so that's a way to encourage those types of features to be provided. We heard some about townhomes, and this is going from the public open house, that new residential development would be a good option to allow in the Harlem Avenue corridor. And that, again, going back to the idea of placemaking and creating a sense of place out there in that area of the city. New things like courtyards and gardens, open spaces would be good to see in new development, new residential development if it's allowed in the corridor. So considering allowing townhomes in the C4 district could be a potential approach, going off of that feedback and establishing some standards to regulate how they should look and how they should be designed to encourage a sort of pedestrian-friendly appearance with public gathering spaces. That type of thing would be one approach. A lot of communities are moving towards this, repurposing a historically uniformly commercial district like C4 and allowing some residential uses in there is becoming somewhat of a common practice these days, given that the market really is pushing a lot of residential development, and things like retail have really fallen off since the pandemic. This would be one approach to do that, to think about there. So that was one of the key things we heard about back at the open house. From here, we'll look at some of the online questionnaire kind of takeaways. Some of the responses, there were a couple questions on off-street parking there in this online questionnaire, asking similar types of questions that we asked in the meeting with you all. Participants really, there was quite a bit of a pattern that participants wanted to see parking located to the rear or side of buildings, but not so much in the front in the corridor, to create more of a pedestrian environment there. And that is something that the city can regulate very directly in the zoning ordinance. So currently, off-street parking can be in the front, rear, or interior side of buildings in the C4 district. So limiting that more in future development to either the side or the rear could be a way to make the corridor more friendly as new development comes in. Going off more what we heard in the online questionnaire, we did hear quite a bit in the way of support for small-scale, standalone residential formats, things like duplexes, triplexes, townhomes in the corridor. There was a pattern that the respondents really did think that those would be appropriate things to think about allowing in the Harlem Avenue corridor there. And so that C4 zoning does allow mixed use currently, so it does allow residential, but it would have to be in an upper floor above commercial building or commercial ground floor uses, which is a really good thing. That's a good use to allow in the zoning. But taking this feedback we had, allowing some more small scale, what gets called missing middle formats a lot these days in the C4 district. So things like two-family buildings, either stacked vertically or side by side, are sort of a common product these days that some developers will want to build. So allowing those more in the zoning could be one option. And again, establishing some standards to ensure they have a nice visual appearance would be an idea here. Continuing with the same theme here, allowing some other more of these small scale missing middle formats, things like triplexes and quadplexes in that C4 district. And given that they're becoming more of a common product these days, in addition to that mixed use that the city already does allow in the C4 district, could be a way to get more housing there, as respondents said that they would like to see, and that they wanted the city to think about doing. Another one up on the screen there, accessory dwelling units. There is some R1 and R2 residential in proximity to the corridor there, so allowing accessory dwelling units just in those couple blocks off the corridor there. And I'll add real quickly, accessory dwelling units, that's common format these days, refers to a small sort of partitioned dwelling unit, typically under 1,200 square feet on a lot with an existing single family use commonly. just in those blocks of R1 and R2, right off the corridor there would be a way to look at doing this. Nicole, did you want to add something?
Yeah, we're gonna have to open it up. If anybody has any questions or comments right now,
Well-
please feel free to blurt out. Otherwise, if you wish to submit questions, comments, clarifications to me, I will pass it on to the group.
I really think that we have to update our ideas about residential, since residential is not moving at all nowadays. It's not really the best for the developer's point of view to build residential in that area. Based on the interest rates, residential is not moving and guys aren't building it. So I think we need to update our thought process in that respect.
For C4 or just in general?
Well, we're talking about just basically the Harlem Avenue corridor right now. Any other questions? Anybody, Alderman, questions? Anybody?
So what exactly is the plan with after reviewing and accepting this information? Does this go somewhere else after this?
I think basically, once they put it all together, it'd be going to, with respect to what kind of amendments we might want to have with our zoning laws, especially in this corridor. I don't know that it's necessarily requires anything right now, because as the gentleman stated, C4 encompasses a lot of these other. Right now, we do have residential in that area, which are not condoned to mixed use, because they're all apartment buildings in portions of that area. But for further development, it's a possibility that we could do that. We do have, I think, a couple vacant lots in the area, and I know people were looking at townhomes for that area, but obviously, because of the market and the rates and stuff, it's not going anywhere right now. So we just have to double think that.
Yep, certainly a good consideration there. So yeah, if there's other comments on the memo and the recommendations over the next few weeks, as you continue to take a look at things, yeah, please feel free and pass those along. As far as next steps, we're going to be getting into drafting updates to the zoning ordinance itself, so that'll appear as sort of an updated text amendment that you all can think about. And so really just focusing on the ideas and the recommendations here tonight, but we'll move forward with text amendments in the next phases. So,
Okay,
yeah.
Thank
yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Nicole, did you have anything you want to? Okay, that's all I have for Committee of the Whole, so if I could have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Led in by Ruiz, all those in favor? By
Aye.
Rinaldo?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. See you back in a few minutes at 8 o'clock.
Hey, Jim, rather than keep you on the phone,
Yeah,
I'll hang
call me
up and
back.
call you back.
Sounds good, thank you.
Sure.
Bye.
Yeah, I know how to use it.
Oh, you know what it is.
Yeah, I used it in closed.
Okay, good. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Wasn't sure if you'd used the new conference.
Hey, I may be old, but I'm pretty savvy. I just hit buttons until something works.
These have like 8 different speakers in them, so if you're in a big open room, the voice projects in all directions.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah.
Knock your
Yes, of course.
Oh,
There was a case at law school. Somebody getting, it's called unjust enrichment. Because you know that you're getting the benefit without paying for it. And then when you know who it is and keep your mouth shut. And then they come to you afterward and say, hey, you cut your grass for a month, can you pay? And you say, no. Because you knew, and you should have stopped them.
So now you know. So now you gotta open your mouth.
Yeah, the first week, the second week, tomorrow, maybe I'll stay home a little later and catch them.
I see something, I'll let you know. All right?
Still have Jimmy on the phone? Do you still have Jimmy on the phone?
Sabatucci? Rich, sir, don't you have a pen like that? Stand up, stand up.
6.
There you go.
Hello.
Hi, Jim, we're almost ready.
All righty, thank you.
Okay, Clerk Paul, can we call the council meeting to order, please?
Lennon,
Here.
Boywood,
Here.
Leisha,
Here.
Fate.
Here.
Pabon,
Here.
Ruiz,
Here.
Aaronella,
Here.
Carmichael.
Here.
If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please
Mayor?
remain standing.
Could we have a motion to allow Alderman Boywood to participate remotely?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Lennon, seconded by Fate to allow Alderman Roywick to participate by phone. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could please keep in our thoughts and prayers the family of Richard Fenhouse Jr., who's the brother-in-law of our watch commander, Sergeant Mark Schwanderlich, as well as all the men and women we have on the street tonight. Thank you. If anybody wishes to address the open forum from the audience, please step forward to the podium, state your name and address. Hearing none. Alderman, anything for open forum? Oh, I'm sorry, there is one.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Gonzaga, a Berwyn resident of the 6th Ward, speaking on behalf of the JSA. We are organizing the 5th annual Juneteenth commemoration to be held on Saturday, June 22nd at Serenity Park, 12 p.m. to 12 p.m. Juneteenth is a significant holiday that commemorates the end of slavery in the United States and celebrates African American culture and achievements.
Hello, I'm Eileen, and I am this year's secretary for JSA. Our commemoration aims to educate and empower our community on the Black African American culture and heritage. The goal is to promote awareness, unity, and equality while honoring the struggles and achievements of African Americans throughout history. It's a wonderful opportunity to learn, appreciate, and celebrate diversity.
Hello everyone, my name is Annette Flores, our new JSA Vice President, and it is an honor to introduce our new cabinet for the 2024 and 2025 school year. This is Jasmine Gonzaga, our President, Annette, me, our Vice President, Eileen Liera, which is our new Secretary, Jasmine Alpizar, our Director of Publicity, and Angelo Gonzaga, our Director of Fundraising. It is also an honor to announce that we have now secured the 5th year chapter of the year. We are now currently on track to compete with 7 other schools across the country for a National Chapter of the Year award. And with that, I will pass that to Angelo, our Director of Fundraising.
Hello, council members. It's an honor to be here in front of you all. I'm here to speak about some sponsorships we are seeking from esteemed organizations that are committed to diversity, inclusion, and community engagement. As part of our fundraiser, we would like to sell shirts and wristbands. Your contribution would be shown on these items with the organization's logo. This requires a donation of $100, like minimum, right? And the deadline would be until June 15th. Your support would help our conventions and keep them affordable towards students. Please contact me at angelogonzaga272@gmail.com. If you're unable to reach me, please forward requests to Claudia or Yadira. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Anybody else for open forum? Alderman, anything for open forum? Hearing none. Item C1, please.
Item C1 are the minutes of the regular meeting of May 14th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular city council meeting minutes of May 14th, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Leonard, second by Aaronella to approve the city council minutes of May 14th, 2024. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item F1, please.
Item F1 is a proclamation recognizing Migraine and Headache Awareness Month. Whereas there are more than 300 medically recognized headache diseases, including cluster headaches and migraine, whereas migraine is a genetic neurobiological disease characterized by episodes known as attacks, whereas headache diseases impact 1 in 6 households in the United States, with more than 40 million Americans living with headache diseases, including approximately 4 million who have chronic migraine, experiencing 15 or more migraine attacks each month, whereas headache diseases are 3 to 4 times more prevalent in women and Native indigenous communities, have the highest prevalence of disabling headaches in the United States, whereas significant disparities in diagnoses, treatment, and outcomes persist, particularly affecting Black, Hispanic, and Native indigenous populations who face underdiagnosis and inadequate treatment. Whereas it's estimated that 40 to 50% of persons living with migraine disease are undiagnosed, whereas migraine is the second leading cause of global disability and notably one of the most disabling for young women under 50 years of age, whereas approximately 1 in 1,000 people in the United States live with cluster headache disease, medically referred to as the most painful condition a human can experience, whereas veterans returning from Iraq and Afghanistan have 2 to 4 times the incidence of migraines compared to the general population, likely due to traumatic brain injury, and post-traumatic headache occurs in up to 92% of military personnel who have sustained a mild to TBI, traumatic brain injury. Whereas headache diseases are an economic issue, costing U.S. companies upwards of $78 billion each year in direct and indirect costs, whereas the effects of headache diseases are experienced on a spectrum, presenting significantly different levels of intensity, frequency, and disability, whereas migraine disease impacts all systems of the body with symptoms which can include intense pain, nausea, vomiting, sensitivity to light, sound, smell, and touch, visual disturbances, tinnitus, chills, fatigue, anomic aphasia, trouble finding words, impaired cognitive function, numbness, and weakness lasting for 4 to 72 hours on average. Whereas stigma and misinformation related to headache disease have stifled research and advances in treatment, whereas all persons living with headache diseases deserve fair, equal, timely, and affordable access to new and innovative treatments to live their lives to the fullest potential. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Robert J. Lavero, and the Aldermen of the City of Berwyn do hereby proclaim June 2024 as Migraine and Headache Awareness Month, dated the 28th of May, 2024.
Do I have a motion?
I motion to move forward with the proclamation, June 2024 Migraine and Headache Awareness Month.
Second.
Motion by Aaronella, seconded by Lennon, to approve the proclamation for June 2024 as Migraine and Headache Awareness Month. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item G1, please.
Item G1 is communication from the clerk regarding a handicap parking request for 1837 Kenilworth.
I motion to move forward with the approval of handicap parking application for space 1837 South Kenilworth.
Second.
Motion by Aaronella, seconded by, was it Carmichael, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, seconded by Carmichael, to approve the installation of handicap space at 1837 Kenilworth. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item I1, please.
Item I1 is a communication from Alderperson Aaronella regarding the override of ordinance 823.02D to allow a front yard sale event for the 1900 block of Clinton.
So as every year, I think I'm probably the only alderman that comes up here and talks about how I have a lot of areas that like to do the front yard sales. So here I am again, asking for the approval of a front yard block sale for the 1900 block of Clinton for June 8th, rain date of June 9th.
Second.
Motion by Aaronella, seconded by Ruiz, to approve the front yard block sale for June 8th, rain date of June 9th, on the 1900 block of Clinton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J1, please.
Item J1 is a communication from City Attorney Bertucca regarding the settlement of Berwyn Police Department squad car property damage.
Be my motion to concur with City Attorney Bartuca and settle the squad car property damage in the amount of $18,125 granted in executive session.
Second.
Motion by Fate, seconded by Leisure, to concur with City Attorney Bertucca and approve the settlement of $18,125 for the squad damage is approved in executive session. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Lennon.
Aye.
Boywood.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Fate.
Aye.
Pabon.
Aye.
Ruiz.
Abstain. Regretfully, I was late for this meeting.
Aaronella.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
7 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J2, please.
Item J2 is a communication from City Attorney Bertucca confirming the March 2024 vote regarding the cost increase of temporary visitor parking passes.
It'd be my motion to accept this communication and modify the ordinance as recommended at City Council at an earlier date on March 20th, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Ruiz, seconded by Aaronella, to concur with City Attorney Bertucca and modify the ordinance for the temporary visitor parking passes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Under item J3, we have three different items, so item J3A, please.
Item J3 is an ordinance entitled An Ordinance Amending Chapter 462, Section 462.045, Commercial Vehicle Sticker Fees, Chapter 484, Section 484.10F, Commercial Parking in Public Parking Areas, and Chapter 480, Section 480.09, Commercial Vehicle Parking of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Berwyn.
It'd be my motion to adopt this modification to the ordinance as specified in the ordinance presented.
Second.
Motion by Ruiz, seconded by Aaronella, to concur and amend the ordinance as presented for Chapter 462, Section 462045. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Lennon.
Aye.
Boywood.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Fate.
Aye.
Pabon.
Aye.
Ruiz.
Aye.
Aaronella.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J3B, please.
An ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Amending Chapter 484, Section 484.10F of the Codified Ordinances regarding the commercial vehicle parking permits for the City of Berwyn, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Be my motion to to adopt the amended ordinance as in Chapter 484, Section 484.10F, as presented in the ordinance and at a previous city council meeting.
Second.
Motion by Ruiz, seconded by Fate, to adopt the ordinance amending 484, Section 484.10F for the commercial vehicle parking permits. Fix necessary signatures, place on its way to passage. All those in favor?
Lennon?
Aye.
Roywood?
Aye.
Leisure?
Aye.
Fate?
Aye.
Pabon?
Aye.
Ruiz?
Aye.
Aaronella?
Aye.
Carmichael?
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J3C, please.
J3C is entitled, An Ordinance Amending Chapter 480, Section 480.09 of the Codified Ordinances regarding the overnight parking and locations for the City of Berwyn, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
It'd be my motion to approve Attorney Bertuca's communication modifying Chapter 480, Section 480.09, codified ordinance regarding the overnight parking and locations.
Second.
Motion by Ruiz, seconded by Fate, to adopt the amended ordinance amending Chapter 480, Section 480.09, and fix the necessary signatures. Place on its way to passage. All those in favor? I will call the roll.
Lennon?
Aye.
Roywood?
Aye.
Leisure?
Aye.
Fate?
Aye.
Pabon?
Aye.
Ruiz?
Aye.
Aaronella?
Aye.
Carmichael?
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J4, please.
J4 is a communication from Police Chief Semaglia with a request to contact the Fire and Police Commission to hire one probationary police officer from the lateral eligibility pool.
I move that we approve Berwyn Police Chief Semaglia's request to contact the Fire and Police Commission to hire one probationary police officer from their current lateral eligibility pool of candidates. Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Pabon, to concur with Chief Semaglia and allow him to contact the Police and Fire Commission for the next lateral eligible candidate for the police department. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J5, please.
J5 is a communication from Chief Semaglia regarding a notice of parade event approval for St. Leonard Parish.
I move that we accept this notice from Police Chief Semaglia regarding the approval of the St. Leonard's Catholic Church Corpus Christi procession on June 2, 2024, from 2:45 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. with city services requested as informational. Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Pabon, to concur with Chief Semaglia, permission for the Corpus Christi Parade from St. Leonard's on June 2nd. Consider the communications informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J6, please.
J6 is a communication from Fire Chief Hayes regarding a request for permission to contact the Fire and Police Commission to hire a probationary firefighter paramedic.
I move that we approve Berwyn Fire Chief Hayes' request to contact the Fire and Police Commission to hire the next qualified candidate on their eligibility list. Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Pabon, to concur with Chief Hayes and allow him to contact the Police and Fire Commission to hire the next eligible firefighter paramedic. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J7, please.
J7 is a communication from Chief Hayes regarding permission to pay for an emergency repair to the Quint 901 vehicle.
I move that we concur with Fire Chief Thomas Hayes' request to approve payment to the McQueen Pierce for the emergency repair of the Quint 901 fire apparatus at a cost of $62,893. Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Pabon, to concur with the recommendation of Chief Hayes and approve the payment to McQueen Pierce for the emergency repair cost, $62,893 for the Quint. All those in favor, I call the roll.
Lennon?
Aye.
Roywood?
Aye.
Leisure?
Aye.
Fate?
Aye.
Pabon?
Aye.
Ruiz?
Aye.
Aaronella?
Aye.
Carmichael?
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J8, please.
J8 is a communication from City Administrator Siaba Green regarding insurance renewal for the property, inland marine, and other coverages.
I motion that we go with City Administrator Green's recommendation to renew the property, inland marine, auto physical damage, and crime coverage insurance.
Second.
Motion by Aaronella, second by Faith, to concur with City Administrator Green and renew the insurance for the physical damage, crime coverage, inland marine, with Liberty Mutual Insurance for the premium of $187,600. All those in favor, call the roll.
Lennon?
Aye.
Roywood?
Aye.
Leisure?
Aye.
Fate?
Aye.
Pabon?
Aye.
Ruiz?
Aye.
Aaronella?
Aye.
Carmichael?
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J9, please.
Item J9 is a communication from Director Schiller seeking an authorization for, to seek bids for installation of water main on 38th Street from Wesley Avenue to Clarence Avenue.
It'd be my motion to concur with Director Schiller's request, authorizing them to seek bids for constructing a new water main on 38th Street from Wesley to Clarence Avenue.
Second.
Motion by Ruiz, second by Aaronella, to concur with Director Schiller and authorize him to seek bids for constructing a new water main on 38th Street from Wesley to Clarence. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Lennon, seconded by Aaronella, to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Alderman committee meetings, Alderman Lennon.
Call the chair.
Alderman Boywood.
Call the chair.
Alderman Leisure.
Call of the chair.
Alderman Fate.
Call the chair.
Alderman Pavone.
Call the chair.
Alderman Ruiz.
Call the chair.
Alderman Aaronella.
Call the chair.
Alderman Carmichael.
Call the chair. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion adjourned by Carmichael, seconded by Aaronella. All those in favor?
Aye.